With city centres becoming more and more focused on bringing down emissions, now could be the perfect time to buy this, the SEAT Mii Electric. With a starting price of £20,300 after the government's contribution, it has standard features including 16-inch alloys, rear parking sensors, heated front seats, lane keep assist, air conditioning, cruise control and LED daytime running lights, to name a few.
I've driven a few electric cars, but this one is a bit quirky. I've got a flip key, and this actually has a barrel. I would call it an ignition barrel, but of course there is no ignition, there's no petrol, there's no diesel. And yet you turn the key, which is really weird because normally you would expect to hear, oh, hello, thank you. You'd expect to hear an engine turn over and fire into life, whereas this, apart from that little bleep, silence. Very interesting. So, away we go in the Mii Electric. So the electric motor produces 83 horsepower along with 212 newton meters of torque. If you prefer that in pound-feet, I will drop a caption below. Of course, you're probably not too concerned about the performance, but in case you are, it will take a little over 12 seconds to hit 62 miles per hour, and the top speed is 81 miles per hour. And you may think, oh, that's a bit rubbish, but this is a city car. When are you going to do 81 in a built-up area? Never, or at least you shouldn't. If you're doing that, you are a naughty person, and the police will come and arrest you. Of course, you want to know about the range. This has a range of 161 miles, and you may think, oh, that's a bit rubbish. And you would argue a Renault Zoe has more, which it does, but that will cost you more money. This, as I've said already, is a city car. Therefore, most of the journeys this car will do will be shorter journeys in and around town. Therefore, you're not going to need a lot of range. Let's say, for example, you do the school run, pop to the supermarket, and you do, let's say, 5 miles a day. Let's say 10 miles. Let's push the boat out. Over the course of a week, you'll be doing 50 miles, because of course the schools will be closed at the weekend, and then you may do some additional mileage at the weekend. So let's say, for argument's sake, you're going to do 70, 80 miles in a week. There we go. You've got range left over, and you can charge this car pretty quickly. If you use a 40 kilowatt charger, you can get this from 0 to 80% in an hour. Whereas if you use a 7 kilowatt charger, let's say you've got a pod point installed at your home, you can get this from 0 to 80% in 4 hours. So you can charge this up overnight, and then it's ready for you to go in the morning. Pretty good. And what I like about the Mii Electric is, now some EV owners won't like me for saying this, but it hasn't got the self-righteousness styling of an EV. Now, that is a little bit of a controversial thing to say, but what I'm trying to get at is, you look at this car and you think it's just a standard internal combustion powered car. The flap for the charging port, it looks like a fuel filler cap, and I like that. This is very unassuming. If it wasn't for the Mii Electric badges, you would think that this is just your normal city car. And I like that. I like electric cars that aren't trying too hard to show off to the world. I am an electric car, I'm saving the world. Just thought I'd give my 2 cents on that. This car, as you would expect, has got a short wheelbase, which can be a negative factor for the comfort, but you know what? This is a pretty comfortable car. The damping is pretty good, and the ride is compliant. Yes, it can be a little bit firm at times, but compared to the Fiat 500 hybrid I've been testing this week as well, this is definitely the more comfortable car. I much prefer the driving setup as well, because I'm actually sat lower in the car. I'm sat in the car, not on the car, like in the Fiat 500 hybrid. It's more ergonomic in here, and overall it is a nicer place to be. Yes, okay, the Mii Electric has been around for a while now, and you could argue it needs a bit of a revamp, but it feels more grown up compared to the 500, I'd say. This is a bold claim, this actually feels like a bigger car than what it is. That's not to say that it's difficult to navigate or it feels like a big car in the city, because it doesn't. It's a small car, it's easy to manoeuvre, I've got rear parking sensors as standard, and it's a tiny car. Therefore, this is perfect for cutting through a town centre. But what if you happen to be on a nice sweeping country road? Well, you'll find that the Mii Electric is actually pretty good fun to drive. The handling is better than you may be expecting, and it's certainly better compared to the Fiat 500 Hybrid. This has got less roll in the corners, the steering has got a nicer weight to it, but it's still nice and light around town, although it doesn't have the very handy city function that the 500 Hybrid has, where the steering goes uber light. You can steer it with your fingertips. Yeah, in the corners, the Mii Electric, for what it is, can be quite entertaining. It can be quite fun. And then when you hit the accelerator, the torque, of course, is instantaneous. I think the official figure for 0 to 31 miles per hour is something like 4 seconds. I think it might be 3.9. So off the mark, this car is properly quick. And with it being an electric car, it's very easy to drive. I've got no gears to worry about, of course. It's a very simplistic and easy car to live with. And yes, I know it isn't the cheapest, but if you want a small car that is electric, this is definitely well priced. If you were to look at a comparative Renault Zoe, I reckon you'd be paying an additional £5,000. And yes, the Renault Zoe is a bit bigger, but this car, despite its pint-sized appearance, is actually pretty practical. It is a bit of a TARDIS. Even someone of my height, I'm 6'2", I can kind of fit in the back. And you wouldn't think that would be possible given the dimensions. Put me in the 500 Hybrid, however, well, put me in the back of the 500 Hybrid, however, and yes, I'm almost begging instantly to be released from my capture because it feels like I've been imprisoned. But in the back of the Mii Electric, it's actually quite doable. I wouldn't want to do a long journey in this, but this car isn't really designed for long journeys anyway, so that's kind of a non-start.
Just in case you're wondering, I'm 6'2". The back of the SEAT Mii Electric isn't too bad, and the boot is also pretty competitive. It offers 251 litres, and if you select the right option, you can get a boot floor which is adjustable as well for better versatility.
Refinement on the whole, considering this is a small car with not much to it, is definitely agreeable. There's a bit of road noise coming into the cabin from these 16-inch alloys, but nothing worth complaining about. When you do get up to higher speeds, the wing mirrors do create a bit of wind noise, but again, it isn't deafening. So as much as this car isn't designed to munch up multiple motorway miles, I think for a city car, for what it is designed for, I reckon this would do a fairly decent job. The Mii Electric has got decent visibility as well. At no point have I struggled to see where I'm going or what's around me. Yeah, this is a properly good car. But of course it is essentially a Volkswagen Up with different badges, and the Up has been a very popular car, and for good reason. This car is very well packaged, it's well designed. It looks really small, yet it's got 5 doors, space in the back for actual humans, unlike the 500, which is really best reserved for children or small adults. The boot is competitive, to say the least, and it's good to drive as well. To give you an example of just how quick this car is off the mark, got a roundabout, nothing coming, and away we go. And this thing is a little scamp off the mark. It's like a flea, just woof, and it's gone. What's that? Who knows? Yeah, it's small and silver. This is a really likeable car, actually. There's not much about it I dislike. Okay, the fact it hasn't got autonomous emergency braking as standard is a little bit disappointing. That means that the Euro NCAP rating for this car is at 3 stars, which nowadays is a bit disappointing. But it's still got a good amount of airbags. I've got lane keep assist as well. So it's not as if this car is a death trap, far from it. As you would expect from an electric car, this of course has regenerative braking, of which I've got 3 different settings. So when you've got the car in drive mode, you can hit the gear lever to the left, that gives you level 1. Hit it again, that gives you level 2. Hit it once more, that gives you level 3. But in case level 3 isn't strong enough, you can actually pull the gear lever back, put it in the B driving mode, and I've got level 4. And now if I lift off, it is braking relatively aggressively. That isn't to say that you can drive it with one pedal like the Nissan Leaf, but it's not far off actually. The controls in here are easy to use. There's a few buttons, but I wouldn't say it feels cluttered in here. You don't get a touch screen, but you do get this bracket, this holder where you can pop your smartphone. And the infotainment you do get is, I would say, easy to navigate. Maybe a little bit fiddly to use whilst on the move, because there's quite a few different buttons and menus and sub-menus, but I think it's one of those things that once you've used it for a bit, you've lived with it, you've gotten used to it, I reckon it will become second nature.
There we have it, the SEAT Mii Electric. It's a car ideal for slicing through town centres with the knowledge that you're driving with no emissions. It's got a decent amount of kit, it drives well, it is more practical than you may think, and the range isn't too shabby either. Okay, it's not perfect, as it's starting to look tired and the safety kit could be improved as well. However, if you're looking for a small car that's green, this should definitely be on your shopping list. Thank you for SEAT UK for supplying this car, and of course a massive thank you for you guys watching. If you have enjoyed it or found this video useful, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. If you are subscribed, don't forget to click the bell icon so you get notified every time I make a video. But until the next time guys, be sure to keep up the car obsession.